Yes, we can see your screen.
So when we say that we are actually giving the user the ability to be more productive from anywhere and everywhere that they are, we are giving the users that particular chance to work on things from their mobile device, from their uh, iPads, from their laptops, from any kind of an operating system. At all of these being in place, we yet want the environment to be 100% secured. We want the environment to be 100% compliant. We need to make sure that whatever the user is accessing within the limitations or within the corporate boundary. And this is all what over here a Microsoft Enterprise Mobility plus Security suite is all about. So when I say a Microsoft Enterprise Mobility and Security suite, practically speaking, over here we are not talking about one single product or one single feature or a technology. We are talking about a suite which is a collection of three different verticals of Microsoft. One amongst them is my Windows 10, that is my end user operating systems or the end devices with Android, iOS, whatever we consider. We have our Office 365 suite completely, the applications. And then what we have is my users who are actually going to make use of these kind of applications or devices in their environment. So when we talk about enterprise mobility and security today, Microsoft EMS is a suite which is the most powerful one and the most widely and fastest adopted security suite across the industry globally. There are reasons why M365, or there are reasons why the enterprise mobility and security suite is so very productive. It is because it is deeply integrated with Active Directory, which has been the identity management protocol, I can say, across the industry since past more than 2 decades now. It is deeply unified messaging platform, the application productivity that we are giving to the users, etc. And hence, doing things inside an EMS suite is much simpler, much easier for the IT team as well as for the end users to work on their devices, if at all we are moving further with this particular suite to be implemented. When we talk about EMS, typically when talk about the security aspect, there are multiple products in the security family of EMS. But to your surprise, this particular security vertical of M365 is currently amongst the top three security suites for endpoint device management and for your cloud environment. When it comes to having all of the infrastructure or all of your services and things deployed on a particular cloud platform. So if we talk about Microsoft 365 security, it ranks amongst the top three in providing security across the cloud IT infrastructure. So when we talk about EMS, what basically is EMS? There are multiple breakdowns that Microsoft has been offering. Like you have your M365 business, and you have your M365 E3, E5 essential, etc. If we talk about the whole suite, it is E3 and E5, which would be considered to be the best most variants, because they are the ones which cover almost every single feature that you might expect your security or your mobility suite to have. It is an intelligent platform which is backed by Microsoft's artificial intelligence and machine learning services, which makes your environment secured from even the latest, most, or even the newest, most released security breach within seconds. So it is the AI and the ML model which actually keeps a complete watch through over the every customer's tenant or your entire enterprise mobility and security environment that is running for multiple customers inside the Microsoft cloud. It has more than 47,000 enterprise EMS customers who are securing like more than 2,700 applications with MS security suite. These numbers are something which I am talking about a couple of months back, and if I give you the latest numbers, the count has crossed like nearly 86,000 plus enterprise customers using more than 15,000 applications to secure your M365 suite. The reason behind all of this is that M365 or the security suite that you have in Microsoft, the best part is it is not only limited to Office 365. It can secure all different renowned third party applications. It at the same time can secure your line of business applications, your custom applications, your in-house built applications, all of it. Hence, managing things over here is more versatile when it comes to seeing how things were traditionally running and managed using my group policy, and now how it is running using my cloud platform. The version of EMS that you choose will have nothing to do with your Office 365 version. So it is like, first of all, most of us are confused about what Office 365 is versus what M365 is, and we always land up probably in a confusion, or the customer is always under this particular confusion. Which licenses should he actually go further and buy for for his environment, or what exactly should the customer procure? So if you have an existing customer who is already using Office 365, then he can independent standalone opt for the enterprise mobility and security suite as well. Like, it is not required that all the time I need my EMS to come as a part of the M365 suite. So enterprise mobility and security itself, the EMS E3 and EMS E5 are two different standalone products which can be procured with irrespective any license of Office 365 that the customer might be using. The entire EMS suite is going to have a lot of different modules. So one of them is your identity and access management. You have information protection, you have threat protection, you have endpoint protection using mobile threat defense to make sure that your endpoints are secured. You have CASB, that is Cloud Access Security Broker, and you have mobile device management, which is again today probably at the top of the market, which is Microsoft Intune. Today, as I said, that we are actually moving towards an environment which is becoming a mobile digital environment. In that case, what matters is what I'm planning to cater versus what the user is going to expect. So probably the user will expect that he should be able to work easily from anywhere, from any kind of device, using all the familiar apps that he has, or the apps that has been into a day-to-day practice. Collaborate and share with the users, with colleagues, with partners easily, rather than having too many restrictions. But at the same time, when I want to give users these expectations of the user, I will also have to make sure that the company resources are secured. Like, if I'm sitting home right now and I'm trying to access my corporate data, there are high chances that I might probably leak it. I might take it out from the USB, or I might share it with some non-intended user. I might share it to some outside organization email address. There are a lot of things that can be done, but we need to make sure that all of these are in place. So even if I'm sitting at home, I need my laptop to be configured or connected to my cloud environment in such a way that my USB devices should be blocked. I need my device, in spite of me working from home, be able to decide that if I am accessing a particular corporate resource and I'm not connected to the VPN, it will not allow me to access that file. If I'm connected to the VPN, then there should be an additional level of security, maybe a multi-factor authentication that should happen in place, and then only I should be able to, access those resources. So security becomes one aspect for the IT organization, for the IT part of the organization. Protect company data and resources. You need to make sure that as an end user, one should not be allowed to share the data outside the organization or to an external email address or to a party where you don't wish the user to have. You need to implement a lot of data loss prevention policies, and you need to encrypt the content that is there on the device. And in spite of giving all of these security features in place, I need to make sure that the end user is able to serve the best possible that is required for the organization to move further. So, yes, definitely to come and adapt to this particular mobile productivity challenge, we need a suit like Microsoft Enterprise Mobility and Security. Guys, the security landscape has changed today. So, when I am saying that the security landscape has changed, what I mean to say over here is, let's say, for example, I have my users who are authenticated users, who are users that belong to my organization and are trying to access data across some X number of devices. Out of which I probably have two devices which are as per the compliance, and I have two compromised devices which technically are blocked and should not be the ones from where the user might access the data. In that case, those devices need to be blocked, and only the permitted devices should be allowed to access the application and the data. So, this entire component, the identity plus the device plus the application, may that be on prem, may that be third party, or may that be a Microsoft application, all of these can be completely controlled using the EMS suite. When we talk about this particular term, modern workplace, so today, if I say modern workplace, it's like if I'm sitting at home and I'm working, that's my modern workplace. So I need to make sure that I'm giving the users the complete access, but in the secured way, and making sure that they are more productive sitting at the place where they are. So when I implement an enterprise mobility security suite, may that be any type of a device, may that be any type of user, may that be any kind of an application, all of it can be controlled using EMS, and users, device, apps, and file control based security is what you can implement to protect your data. So you can have a security at a user level, you can have it at a device level, you can also have it at the application level, and also at a file level. So if I want to arrange all of these chronologically, it will be like I can set up the security at a device level, I can set it up at the user level, I can set it up at the app level, and inside the application, I can set it up at the file level. And once we set all of these in place, user is merely left behind with an opportunity to compromise that particular data or pull out the information which actually he should not be doing. The best part of implementing something for a modern workplace is that you can have the entire management done using one single UI. So you have one single console wherein you log in and you do all sorts of management for your devices, for your applications, for every single aspect that you might have implemented for the users. Let me show you a short uh, view of how this console looks. Just give me a minute. This can be your one single portal from where you manage all your devices, you manage all your applications, you manage all your users, you manage all your groups. Every single thing that you have published for your environment can be taken care of from this one single console that you have. So when we talk about having this one single API, I don't actually need to rely on multiple applications, multiple different portals to have my environment controlled or to have my things configured from. It is one single location, you log in and you can do all of it from that one single UI. When you are actually implementing this entire situation of a modern workplace, you land up you land up in an environment where you have pretty lot of things that are configured. So you will have every single thing that is going to be simplified because it's all agentless. It does not require a typical agent to be pushed on every device. You will have a unified identity for a user irrespective of the type of device that he tries to log in through. You will have one single suite of applications that can be your Office 365 suite. Again, third party applications are definitely supported. You have your own data protection that will be put in place. All of this will come with your Windows 10 license, and the moment the device or a particular platform where the user is trying to access the data tries to log in, he just needs to enter one single username and password, and all the settings and policies which are applied to that particular user will be pushed to that particular device, making sure that without the compliance being in place, the user should not be able to access any kind of an information. Whenever you will want to implement a mobile workplace, you will actually have to figure out the reason why you are giving this to the user. Like probably the situation that we are in currently for the COVID-19, the purpose might be different. But if I have a user who is continuously traveling to a remote location, the purpose there might be different. I have users working from home or from different parts of the world. There, the reason or the purpose might be different. Based on this, we will have to do grouping of policies and settings to make sure that as per the purpose, the user security is defined and the accessibility is granted. You will have this particular setup. When we say modern workplace, there will be thousands of questions that will come in place, because when you actually go and implement these things, that's when the technical questions come up, like how will I bifurcate my users, how will I categorize my users, whom am I granting what access, how can I exclude some specific users. All of this is possible because this particular platform that Microsoft is offering is something which is a multi-generation platform wherein you can define your policies, your settings based on conditions. So like we can configure over there saying that if the user belongs to the sales department and is trying to access data from somewhere, I need a multi-factor authentication in place. If the user belongs to the board members group, in that case give the access to the data without any kind of a second factor authentication. So you can define conditions to drill down whom what kind of an access needs to be granted. As I mentioned, security is amongst the top three, but if I talk about enterprise mobility and security, currently this is at rank one globally in serving or in catering the necessities of any business or of any organization. So the kind of things that you can do over here is like integrate with your third party, do a lot of management with different third party tools, integrate with multiple SIM solutions, different threat defense applications that can be put up, like your Sophos or your McAfee or your Kaspersky. Integrate with different platforms like Android, iOS, macOS, Windows. Onboard user devices that are probably Windows 8 devices, 8.1 devices, 10 devices. So versatility at its peak, still having all sorts of management possibilities that you would want to put in place. Increased transparency. For the first time, this enterprise mobility and security suite has been capable of giving an information portal, I can say, wherein you can go and see information like what is the device that the user is working from, the serial number of that device, the operating system of that device, the number of applications that are installed on that device, where in which part is the user located, the latitude and the longitude with the location precisely, the IP address, which is the public IP address, the service provider, the number of times the user has changed his connectivity from different platforms, the number of times the public IP has switched, and a lot more. So, all of this is what comes as a part of your suite. All of this is what comes over here, and you can implement it at one go. We already discussed this. Okay. So, yeah, when I talk about again the mobility landscape, there will be four verticals that you would want to manage. That's going to be the users. You will have your uh, devices, you will have your apps, and the data that is going to be accessed. And the security for all of these will be at different hierarchies. Maybe for your customers, it will be different. Maybe for your employees, junior employees, it will be different. It will be different for your business partners. And when it comes to management of all of these, it's done using one single console by the IT administrator. Trust me, guys, modern workplace or this particular fundamental of digitizing everything and making it a mobile transformation is going to change the way, or rather I can say that it has actually changed the way an IT administrator is going to look up at the organization. It's changed the way the organization will expect productivity in their environment out of their users. It has changed the way the user will interact with their devices. It has changed the way we used to rely on operating systems and the application dependencies, etc. Today, it's all about having those applications, those files, those data accessed from anywhere in the world without a lot of hassle. So, when you actually try to implement the security, as I mentioned, let's say, for example, I'm talking over here about an email that you receive. Inside that email, the identity means the sender and the receiver is where I can apply the security settings. I'll control the device on which the user is accessing. So, for example, if I say that my device is not a part of the compliance, then in that case, I will not be able to access the email. I can secure the application. For example, I can say that you cannot take screen captures while you are into an Outlook application on your mobile device. I can say that you require a biometric authentication to open your email addresses or to open your Outlook as an application. I can say that in Outlook, you can only configure one account, which is a corporate account. I can also say that once you go to Outlook or once you go to any kind of a corporate application, you cannot copy paste data from a particular location. And then lastly, what you will protect is the data or the file. So for example, you could manage to reach till the mail, you could open the email and you could see that there's an attachment. That attachment will still require a decrypting key. Your device will not be able to open the file. So the security is implemented at four different layers. One is the identity, another one is the device, another one is the application, and then the last one is the data. So let's say, for example, I have a user trying to access something. The first request will be hit to Microsoft Intune. Intune will validate whether the user has the access or not. If no, then the access will be rejected. If yes, then the access will be granted to the application. And the moment the access is granted, it is this which decides whether the user has the license for those services or not. If the license is there, the application will be accessed, making sure that the device should be compliant. Device should have the security algorithm in place. Device should have the firewall enabled. Device should have the latest patches. It should have the antivirus enabled. Multi-factor authentication should be done, and a lot more. So as I said, these are some conditions that you will define. It's going to be a condition based access, a conditional access. If then else statements, basically for granting access to users who wish to work from home. What we heard so far was probably on a laptop or a desktop. Users nowadays are willing to even access the corporate data on their mobile device. What will happen in case I'm trying to use it from a mobile device? The first thing that will be done is my cloud portal, which is putting the device under compliance, will try to identify which of the applications are corporate applications. Those corporate applications will be differentiated from the personal applications. Whatever information you will get and you will access will only be in managed apps. So for example, you receive an email with an Excel sheet. This Excel sheet that you got, you could click on copy to Excel sheet and you try to paste it on a personal application, which is going to be denied. But if you try to paste the content from the Excel sheet to a Word application or a Word file, which is again a managed application, it will allow the copy paste. You tried to save the new file to your personal OneDrive, you were blocked again. You tried saving it to your corporate OneDrive, you were allowed. So basically, your application itself will start having two different profiles. One is the corporate profile, and another one is a personal profile. So if I go to the Outlook account, and if I have not set a restriction for one single account, you might have your corporate account there, and you might also have a personal account there. In that case, it can do the bifurcation this way as well. So in one single application, I can have corporate data as well as personal data in place, which can be accessed on the same device using the same application, yet in a secure manner. When we talk about identity, basically over here I'm talking about the users who would be accessing this information. So as I said, it is powered by AI and ML in the backend in order to make sure that you are always connected and in compliance with the latest security breaches, that you are having your organization compliant and away from those latest security breaches. You will want to implement application based security. So as I said, application based security today, I would say that there is a wide adoption of multi-factor authentication, whether you go to banking sector, financial sector, even within organizations these days, you try to access some information, a multi-factor authentication is something that is going to be required. Lastly, you need a threat detection system which is going to identify what kind of risks is the user going through, or what exactly is supposed to be the benchmark. So this is again what I can define. Let's say, for example, I can configure it in such a way that if the user is logging in from more than 3 devices, then please block his access. So it means that I have been continuously using 3 devices. Now, when I say block, doesn't mean that it is suddenly going to block the user. It has a feature wherein it actually tracks the behavior or the accessibility of the users. So if I have been using my device, I have been using my account on 3 different types of devices regularly, and now suddenly there is a fourth device popping up where my account is getting configured. It's probably going to ask me for a multi-factor authentication, saying whether was it you who did it. If I say yes, it's going to ask me the access of the MFA and I'll have to approve it. If I say no, it wasn't me, it's immediately going to block the account or ask me to reset the password or put up notifications to the administrator that the security is compromised, etc. So this kind of a multi-layer protection that you have on your cloud front is actually what your enterprise mobility and security is all about. You have Microsoft's deep integration with Apple JAMF. Apple JAMF is something that can be used to control the modern workplace Apple laptops and desktops. So it will be an inventory, and it is going to be the mobile device collaboration platform for management that is going to be provided by Apple in order to have your Intune policies pushed on those devices. On your Windows devices to unify the experiences. Today, when I say modern workplace, I will not want the user to have different types of experiences on different types of devices. So what I would expect is that probably if he is accessing some data on an Android or on an iOS device, the experience of the user should be the same when he might access that data from a Windows device. In such a situation, today, most of us use biometrics on our Androids and iOS devices. Then why not on my Windows? So you have this really great platform of integrating or using your biometric recognitions on your Windows devices, which is called as Windows Hello for Business. A complete, you can say, feature that is configurable from the EMS suite, and on your Windows 10 devices as well, the user can log in using facial recognition. The user can log in using his fingerprint or probably using the iris scanners, whatever we want to put in place. Windows Defender ATP again stands at rank 1, the most powerful antivirus of all times, the threat protection suite of all times for Windows as an operating system. So if I talk about Windows Defender, not too much into the depth, but we if might have heard of, there was a product in the Microsoft security suite which was Forefront. Windows Defender is something which actually evolved out of Forefront, but has now gone to some really far boundaries and is providing services to an extent wherein you can control, encrypt, manage, protect, secure every single aspect of your Windows 10. May that be the boot files, may that be the system files, may that be user data, may that be going to your hardware components, may that be your device drivers, may that be secure boot. Every single aspect is manageable and controllable using your Windows Defender ADB. These days, this is something what Microsoft has been actually giving as a leverage to the customers, that if you are by any means still on a Windows 7, 8, you can upgrade your operating systems if you have a business license. You can update or have a new Windows 10 machine altogether if you have an E3 or an E5 license. I'm talking about Windows 10 Professional Edition. So this is in terms of coming to the Windows 10 as an operating system from the previous versions that you might be using. But apart from that, since cloud is something which is going to be partially managed by the end customer and partially managed by the cloud provider, what Microsoft has done here is they have actually mm, brought the update component under their control, wherein you will be able to do nothing much apart from scheduling or deferring or defining the cycles or the number of cycles that you want the updates to happen in. So when it comes to Windows 10, you have the feature updates and the update rings, which Microsoft will be automatically pushing from the cloud to all your end devices. So when it comes to all those traditional aspects of patch management and doing things using my SCCM and WSOS and stuff, it's all what is now not going to be needed. The new normal is just schedule, just define what kind of updates you want, and that's it. Cloud will automatically push those updates on the device. When the device is on a good internet connection, probably the updates will be deferred if it's on a mobile hotspot. Probably the updates will be installed and configured well enough if they are on a Wi-Fi connection. You can define on metered connection that the updates should not be downloaded except for the critical ones, and a lot more. So yes, update management is also something which directly goes to the cloud part for management, and we don't have to look into the headache of the same. When I come to modern workplace, what also becomes important, what also becomes necessary for us to understand and for us to keep in mind is that if I am giving the users a facility to bring in their own devices, and we manage those devices using our corporate environment or using my corporate compliance, I also need to make sure that when the user is going to leave the organization or when the user is going to walk out of the environment, I need to have a systematic cleanup of the data. I need to have a systematic wipe of the information that was, or the sensitive information that was on that device. Now, for sure, this is not something which is going to be possible by taking the device handy. So, from one single portal, again, you can simply go and wipe all the devices. You can wipe all the corporate information. You can wipe all the data that has been stored over there on that particular device. So again, I will give you a short walkthrough of these things, probably if time permits, towards the end of the session, of how these features and all are in place. But right from onboarding a device to giving a systematic wipe and removing the device from my environment, every single thing can be taken care of by your EMS as a product. Today, enabling EMS is probably the most simplest and the most powerful way of having your remote work being more productive, secured. You can just sit back and relax, giving the device to the user and saying that, okay, the rest of it is going to be coming from the cloud. You just need to sign in with this username and password, and I know what data you will be getting an access to. So yeah, there is going to be a uh, lot of adoption of these services in today's date, and this M365 suite is, we can say, the target, or you can say that this is something which is going to be sold the most in the coming few months in the near future, and should be the one that is a product of the time right now. Microsoft with EMS has its own security model that has been set up. So as I said, that security is coming in top three. The reason behind that is there are three different layers. The first layer is the Office 365 layer, wherein all your applications, your emails, and your components are going to be taken care of, after which they would be reaching the device. When it comes at the device level, I will have my Windows Defender ATP, which is going to look after the protection. And after Windows Defender ATP, what I will have is I will be able to identify what was the attack, who did the attack, which domain is it coming from, is it a repetitive attack, what is the frequency, etc. And then that will be controlled using something called as the Azure Advanced Threat Protection. So when we talk about ATP has three different modules altogether. One is the Office 365 ATP for application level security, Windows Defender ATP for an endpoint level security, and Azure ATP for your cloud based identity security. So this complete model, today no other cloud provider is this fluent in providing the security module with this vast number of features for adoption. Over a period of past few years, things have changed on the Office 365. security front. So if I talk about 2014, we used to implement antivirus engines with my Office 365 suite, which used to protect my environment, which used to make sure that all my information and everything is safe. 2015, Microsoft implemented something called as safe attachments and safe links. This is a kind of a scanner that has been default embedded to the Office 365 tenant, and which will do the scanning, uh, which will do the validation of all the attachments and the links that are being exchanged over your tenant. 2016 was another leap that Microsoft took, wherein they implemented something called as a dynamic email delivery to identify whether the email is automatically being targeted to a particular account or is it being sent with some specific intentions. It started looking up for reputation of the domain from where you're sending an email. So if I'm sending an email to you from probably abc.cc or something, this email is definitely going to be not considered as a safe email or a safe link or a safe attachment, whatever has been sent. You had heuristic clustering, which came up in place with ZAP. So zero hour auto purge was something which became the most aggressive thing that could ever happen to a messaging solution. So similarly, in 2017, there were some additional components that were introduced, like threat intelligence, identifying the phishing models using machine learning, quarantining those phishing opportunities that any user might have tried to perform on a particular account. And then came 2017 latter half, wherein you had your advanced threat protection coming in place, you had document viewing, you had an explorer which shows. So basically, this by the end of 2018 became the most comprehensive suite that could offer you every single thing with regards to the security that needs to be in place for your mailing solution. More than half of the end customers are not aware that Office 365 as a suite is capable of providing services to this extent. You started having Azure Information Protection also as a part of EMS. So when I say Azure Information Protection, you are basically going to label the documents, you're going to encrypt the files, encrypt the mails, and you will be classifying them, categorizing them, the level of criticality, the level of sensitivity of the information, etc. And each time these kind of encrypted files are being accessed, you will be able to thoroughly monitor where the use of this file is being done. As I mentioned, you had something which is going to give you the complete insight of where the user is, what the user is doing, the public IP, the browser, the device, etc. The platform that is going to give you a glimpse of this is your Microsoft Cloud Application Security. That is nothing but your Microsoft CASB. Going to CASB, you can define different action policies, you can define different monitoring policies, different notification policies. You can discover things, you can implement all sorts of necessary control, you can protect the information that is being put on that particular device, and at the same time, you can identify the threat levels that are being reached, or the health status of that particular device or the user, the risk score of that device or user, etc. So when we talk about cloud application security, it is going to be offered to you in two different platforms. One is going to be your Office 365 and another one is going to be your M365. The Office 365 is a way too premature one because it has only the limitation to perform all the actions up to the Office 365 level, whereas the Microsoft 365 cloud application security is available standalone and as a part of your uh, E5 suite. So M365 CAS is going to allow you to scan more than 20,000 plus applications, whereas Office 365 CAS is going to allow you only to perform your activities on nearly 750 applications. So let me give you an insight. Just want to a particular device and see what is the status of the device. So for example, this one, I can go to a particular device. Inside that device, I can have options to discover the number of applications that are being installed. Now, just 1 minute. It's not compliant device. Okay, so I have a device over here wherein I can go. Okay, you have the option to retire the device. You have the option to wipe the device. You can see what kind of a device it is. It's an iOS device. It's an iPhone 6. You can revoke licenses. You can sync. Every single thing with regards to compliance is going to be visible over here. Applications that are installed on the user device, the configuration of the user device, any specific app configuration that you might have done, or any managed applications that are being installed on the user device is all what you can look from over here and manage all of them. Doing things for a modern workplace from here is easy. You have your conditional access to be defined over here. So for example, here you can see that we have a policy set up saying that external mail access is blocked, meaning if the device is not compliant, you will not be allowed to access emails. If the device is not belonging to the organization, you will not be allowed to access any apps. Block native mail app. So basically in iOS, you cannot go to your mail application and configure your email account. You compulsory need Outlook to be in place, etc. Stuff like that. And then here is a list of the client applications that you can simply push on the devices and control them as per your requirement. Whichever application, however you want to push. You have the categories over here, like they can be Android apps, iOS apps, Windows apps, Office 365, M365, and a lot more. So when we talk about modern workplace, guys, we definitely have a really short time to talk more over it. But when we talk about doing things on a modern workplace environment, there are going to be things with regards to your applications, your devices, and the users, all of it which can be done using one single console. Today, this should be the product that you should be targeting the most, because of the situation like COVID-19 today, as a situation has become much severe globally. We all know about it. And at the same time, we are expecting that all our customers are looking up for solutions wherein they can help their users be more productive from home. They can start working, they can start serving from home, yet making the devices and everything compliant. It is not going to be possible for every organization to give a device to the user and say that, okay, that's your laptop, we are giving it to you for these 3 months of lockdown, you can go home and use it. No. Instead, I would want to enable some kind of a policy like this, or a set of settings in this manner, which are going to make sure that wherever the user tries to access whatever type of a data, it's going to go completely secured, and the user will be able to use it in the most seamless possible manner that he wishes to have it. So this particular thing that we just saw, guys, was a short walkthrough of what all can we do on the M365 front. Definitely, there is still a lot more which we can explore, which we can do. If at all required, you can get in touch with us for the same. We will have our uh, contact details and things that would be shared with you, and you can get in touch with us to have this solution understood in a more better manner. And before we wind up, I would quickly want to give an opportunity to you guys to have a short question and answer session kind of thing, wherein you can bring up the queries that you have and we can discuss those queries and make sure that some of your questions are at least addressed. If no, then we are good to wind up. This was the only thing that we had to discuss from our side. I hope this session was productive for all of you. Stay home, stay safe. We all will be probably on back on our floors very soon. So I think, Junaid, we are good to wind up the session. We
Yes,
probably we probably have covered our aspects and answered the questions that we had from the participants.
right.
And
Thank you so much, Ronak, for such an insightful session. I think it was It was really insightful, and yes, I think somebody has asked a question that
Yes, we
we'll
will
get the
share this. We will
presentation.
share. Yeah, why not? We
Yes,
will definitely share this. We will definitely share this. And
yes, we
apart
will
from
share
that,
the recording.
also, if I think Junaid, I will share you the file. You can circulate it to all the attendees of the webinar with the contact details if required. And if they have any queries on M365 that we need to address, we will be more than happy to help them, because right now is the time when they would need most of the help on this product.
Exactly, exactly. I totally agree. Do share it with me, and by end of the day today, you will have the video recording as well as the presentation file from Ronak. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe, stay home.
Thank you. Bye bye.